Hello, this is Eddie from AppSheet here to help you build an app for free without using code.
Now before we get started, I want to explain three common types of app builders. We have code-driven platforms. Some of them are more complex than others, but all rely on foundational code. We also have drag and drop type builders, which are simply platforms that allow small businesses to drag and drop a couple pieces and parts to create a working app for a grocery store or a barber, things like that. And we also have AppSheet, which is what we call a data-driven platform. So how AppSheet works is it connects to your data to allow you to customize your app to then deploy your app to your users. So we can use data sources like Google Sheets and Forms, Excel and Office 365, Dropbox and OneDrive, Salesforce Smartsheet, SQL, and more. Now there are a couple reasons why AppSheet's data-driven model might be right for you. The first is that if you're dealing with larger data sets, AppSheet allows you to have the functionality of a cloud-based spreadsheet or database while still having the portability of a mobile app. AppSheet's also platform agnostic, which means that you can enter in data from any number of sources and connect it through the same platform onto a single or multiple apps. And because all the data is backed up onto your pre-existing cloud, there are no data silos with AppSheet. Currently, the AppSheet platform is in use by leading Fortune 500 manufacturers like Husqvarna, Solvay, leading utility companies, construction companies, government entities, as well as educational institutions like Harvard, UCLA, Dartmouth, University of Michigan, and many public schools. But from here, let's get started building our first app. To do so, let's head over to Google Sheets. So we'll pull up our drive. Let's open a new sheet. And let's go ahead and call this Inventory Management. I'm going to go ahead and label the first row. Now what AppSheet does is it takes your first row of data and it uses this in the logic of the app to understand which fields are important. And from here, we can also add in our data. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this to make it a little quicker. You can see that we have some common items from a grocery store. We have direct URL links to images. We have the available quantity. The last time we checked the inventory quantity, we have the unit price, we have the inventory value, we have the order quantity, and we have the barcode. And the inventory value is simply the unit price multiplied by what is currently available. So once we have our data in place, we can jump over to AppSheet, and let's go ahead. If it's your first time here, you can go ahead and start for free. It'll take you through a couple prompts to log in. For me, I'm already logged in, and I'm going to go ahead and make a new mobile app starting with my own data. And we're going to call this Grocery Inventory. And we will select our data from Google. Let's go ahead and search for Inventory Management. We found our spreadsheet. And there you have it. AppSheet has basically taken our very simple spreadsheet with 6 rows and turned that into a functional app with a couple of items. We can dive into the app, we can play around, we can edit the values. One thing to note is that whatever we edit inside here is reflected in the spreadsheet. For instance, if we change the unit price of avocado from $1 to $1.50, and we save it and we sync this, then we should see that reflected right here in the spreadsheet as well. And likewise, any change reflected in the spreadsheet is added into the AppSheet app. The data can also sync offline so that if you're in a place where you don't have internet access, you can simply sync at a place where you do have access, or the app will automatically sync itself as well at periodic intervals. So to give you just a taste of what you can do to build out an AppSheet app, we are going to run through a couple of quick sections. And keep in mind this is a really basic overview, but let's get started. Here we are in the Data tab. And here we have our inventory management spreadsheet. We can choose to allow adds and deletes, which is to say that you can now add different stock keeping units or delete them. We could also change our column definitions. AppSheet automatically detects what each of these are, but it doesn't always get it right. So if it doesn't, we can go ahead and fix them in here. We also have slices. So we can go ahead and make a slice. And a slice is a subset of a larger data set. So we're going to call this out of stock. And we're going to say that whenever the column available is equal to 0, then it is going to fall under the category of out of stock. Now we can also head over to our UX tab, In our UX tab, we can see that we have these various views. We can choose to sort them in different ways. We could change this from a deck view to a table view if we wanted to see all the data at once, but I actually prefer the deck view because we get the images. If we were using other data types, a map or a chart or even a calendar might be helpful, but for now, a deck view is going to be what's most helpful for us. We could also sort our data and group our data, and let's go ahead and group our data by category. Now we can see that we have groceries, personal hygiene, and pharmacy separated by category. Let's also go ahead and we can change our second view right here, and let's make it a form view. Now what this does is it gives us the capacity to add any new stock keeping unit however we would want. And let's go ahead and rename our form view new SKU for stock keeping unit. We could also go ahead and add a simple image for this. How about a soccer ball? Now you see we have a simple app with 2 views. We could have up to 5 views along the bottom, and we could also create a set of views to put in the menu section. So for now we'll keep 2 views since this is a really simple app, but bear in mind if you're using a data source with a lot more data, or you're using multiple data sources, or you're trying to make use of various complex features or functionality, you will definitely want to use more than 2 views. We can also add our own custom branding in the brand section. We could create formatting rules. For instance, whenever availability is at 0, we might highlight that in red to make us extra aware. In the behavior section, we could also add a new action, and we'll say add order quantity. And we could say for our what is available, let us have order quantity plus available. The value of column order quantity plus the value of column available. And we'll go ahead and save that. And what this is essentially saying is that for avocados, which have 70 available, whenever we hit that action order quantity, it will add 50 to it. So if we are in the app and we're on the go, we can go ahead and hit add order quantity, and that will be reflected to 120. We could also create simple workflows. For instance, if we wanted a workflow for a low inventory warning, we could do so, and we could say when there is any change and the order quantity is less than 25, then let's go ahead and email store manager at appsheet.com. We could also create simple reports. Let's have this be a weekly report, and we could say that on any weekly basis, on Monday at noon, let's go ahead for this table. We will send an email to gm at appsheet.com. From here, let's take a look at our security tab. We can see that we have a required sign-in through Google. We could also change this to be a public app, or we could sign in through other authentication providers. We also have an intelligence tab where we can have a smart assistant, which allows us to use voice commands on the go. And so once we're done customizing our app, we can head over to deployment, going to not deployed, and this will automatically run our deployment check, and it says we're good to go despite a few warnings about not having a description, and we will go ahead and move our app to a deployed state. And once our app is now deployed, we can head over to our email, and we will see that here is our grocery inventory app. If this is on our phone, we could go ahead and install it, and it would show up as an app icon or tablet. But for now, let's take a look at the browser view. You can see that we have a functioning app in our desktop browser. And if we wanted to share this app, we'd go ahead and go to Share App, and we could find all our coworkers, or we could simply use an entire app domain. So that, in just a couple of minutes, is how you build an app with the AppSheet platform. Keep in mind that we have just barely scratched the surface of all the features and functionalities of what this platform is capable of. Feel free to check out our channel for more examples of the kinds of things you can do, or you can head over to Sample Apps and discover all kinds of examples of existing apps sorted by industry, function, and feature set. So thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you in our YouTube comments section or over at community.appsheet.com.